this video, I'm going to show you how to get up and running with some Python basics. Particularly, we're going to look at variables and some simple control statements. So this is the first in a series of tutorials I'm doing on Python basics. And I'm assuming you have little to no experience with Python and just want to kind of learn about the language. And I'll even assume that you don't have any experience with any language, although I'll point out some things that might be different than some other languages. So just getting started, if you want to, so one of the basics of any language is how do you create a variable. In Python, by the way, I am in PyCharm. Here is a program you can freely download from their website, and I'll provide the link in the description. Anyway, so that's where you get it, and I highly recommend it. It's a great program. And anyway, what you do is you go to File and New File, and right here, ready to go. And I'm going to show you, so first thing is you can create a variable, and I'm just calling it num1 and making it equal to 1. If you're coming from another language, you'll right away notice this is different in that you don't have to declare a type, and there's no ending semicolon or anything like that. You just line break and you're done with that line, and it automatically assigns the type. And so this is obviously an integer. And the styling here, you can do the camel case where you have the second word uppercase, but typically in Python, an underscore is used to connect your words. And so I have 2 here. I'll make another one just to show you. And I don't need to actually have these spaces in between. I can have these right after the other. I'm just doing that for clarity's sake, but let me make one more. And I'm going to show you that you can have another variable that is a float type, which is decimal points, right? And the interesting thing about Python is that you can actually make your other variables equal, even though they started out as an integer. You can make them equal to a float and you will not get penalized. And let's just see how we can print this out. I'm going to say num2 in quotes, and then you connect it with a comma, and I'll say num_2. And we'll go ahead and run this. Up here, you can go up here, run, or you can just kind of click. As long as the correct file is selected, you can hit run, and you'll notice that it printed out num2 15.8. So it did correctly convert it to a float type from an integer. All right, and so a couple things there. You saw how we made number variables, and you saw how we were able to print and actually print text and then connect it and print a variable as well. All right, so let me show you a few other things pretty quick here. You could have other variable types such as Boolean. We can say my bool equals true, and it actually has to be a capital T, or we could have made it equal to false with a capital F. So that's a Boolean type. We could also have text and say my text equals hello world, right? And there's your text. And so that all kind of works well. You can create variables on the fly like that, but if you want to use something for comparison's sake, we'll compare some of these numbers. You can use if statements. And again, unlike a lot of other languages, there's no parentheses used. It's just the, we'll say if num1 is less than num2, and we use a colon at the end of that, then we'll print put in quotes, num1 was smaller. Okay, and num1 should be smaller because num1 is equal to 1 and num2 is equal to 2, well actually equal to 15. And so if I run this, it should say, yeah, it said num1 was smaller. Good. And let's just add a else to this. And again, you put a colon after that, and we'll say print, and we'll say not smaller. And I'm going to change this around. I'll make this num2, and num2 is not smaller than num2, so we should get not smaller. Perfect. Now I could actually add one more thing to this. It's very important, the spacing here, and this automatically does it. When I go down here, it's important that this is shifted over, and I could have multiple lines in this, you know, second line. If I, for instance, if I did this, oh, another line, this is going to get printed no matter what. It is not associated with this. Even if I put it right up against it, it doesn't matter. It's not a part of this if else because it's not shifted, tabbed over. Just so you can see that. So if I ran this, that line, another line would print every time. Yeah, see. But this one is associated with this one up here. Anyway, I want to show you one more thing with this, and that is the else if, which you say elif, and we can basically allows you to compare another one. So we'll say if num2 is larger than num3, which it is because we converted it to that 15 colon, and we'll say print yes larger, just so we have something different to print. So that one should print. Yep, and it did. Yes, larger. Another line printed because it's not associated with anything. So let's say we didn't want to use this anymore. One other thing I'll show you are comments. So putting the hashtag or number sign in front of that comments it out, and so it is no longer read by the compiler when we run this. And you could also do multi-line comments, like for instance, let's say I wanted to just talk about what I have below. Oh, I'm sorry. It's actually you know what? I'm getting this wrong. It is single quotes, and I was doing commas for some reason. I don't know why I forgot that. So 1, 2, 3, and then, well, PyCharm does it automatically. This is multi-line commenting. All right, so that was single quotes, does that. So now I can run this, and it'll run fine because this is just ignored. This is just for your sake. So that's it. I don't want to throw too much at you for this first thing, but you saw how we can declare 3 different types of variables. Oh, I will show you, I guess, how, because I created that Boolean, made it false. I could have done something like this. If my bool was just going to say if it's true, then if it is, it will execute these lines. So I'll make it equal to true so we can actually see that execute and run. And it did. It said num1 was smaller, second line. So that's how you can use a Boolean in here. So next video, I'll show you how to use various loops, like a while loop and a for loop. Please let me know if you have any more questions on variables and simple if-else statements, as well as commenting. Thank you.